Good morning, everybody. It is cold, first of all. Almost 10:30, January 8th. Muddy. We're going to show you this. I wanted to do tile today. This is where my water is at. Frozen. I don't know if I want to figure out a way to save that water because water's valuable out here for things, but I am getting closer to not needing water for tile. I'll probably just, you know what, let me just turn that over and see if I can get it to go ahead and start leaking out at least. Alright. Yeah, it's losing some water pretty good there. Anyway, up where we live, it's getting down into the teens, basically. High teens, low 20s. At night, it's been really cold. So I just got here. That's why I'm getting here a little bit later. Let it warm up a little bit. It's 30 something while ago when I pulled in. I think 32. I don't remember. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. Once we get moved out here, it's not going to be as torturous, I hope, once all the infrastructure's in. I went yesterday at Home Depot, got that crack resistant concrete that I needed to get. Filled up a couple cans of gas. Got a Faraday jacket here. At some point we'll line inside of the wall where the smart meter is on the outside. They didn't want to install it off of the house. It's got a bunch of dumb rules, and if I was a fighter and I had time and I felt like fussing and everything, I probably could get it somewhere else, but I didn't. I had too much going on. Anyway, we'll wrap the wall with that a couple times maybe. Alright, and the plan is to try to do tile today. I don't feel like it got warm enough yesterday for concrete to really set up that I poured yesterday. So, and of course, coffee is, I don't know how you live without that during the winter here. It is cold. I guess I've been told it's unusually cold this year, but anyway, alright, let's get after it. Alright, yesterday I also got myself one more thing of caulking, one step up from what I usually get, because I'm going to be using it on the door and I want to seal it a little bit better. And I'm going to fill in around the backer board in there so my cracks aren't quite as big. It probably doesn't matter too much since it gets filled in with the mortar. And I don't know. I was just thinking it'll keep the mortar off the wood. The wood doesn't get as wet and not exposed so much. So I'll fill it in a little bit and then of course tape it, and that helps keep that all secure as well. Just taking my precautions. Alright, I've been running this heater for about 10 minutes now. So we're at 42 degrees inside the house, which is probably not what it was when I got in here. I just think that's interesting to know what's the temperature in the house. It probably got down into the 20s last night down here on this property. And the fact that it's 42 in here and no heat was being ran, that's pretty good. At least the insulation and roof and all that stuff, keeping it, probably kept it 15 to 20 degrees warmer inside than it was outside. And do a little cleanup before we do our next step. This is the hard part about being out here working too, is that every time I go outside, I'm tracking mud in to the house. It's muddy and wet and gross. And you don't always don't think about you have mud on your feet, and then you see where you've been. I didn't do a great job with the caulking. I just wanted to put a little something in there. I probably just wasted money doing it, since I didn't do a very detailed job. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put the mesh stuff around. Bought myself a pair of scissors the other day. Every once in a while you need scissors. You don't need a blade or a knife or whatever. You need scissors. And I think the scissors are going to work better for this. And I'm apologizing to my DeWalt family. This is just being funny. I didn't see DeWalt scissors. I tend to buy whatever says DeWalt on it. Yeah, it's a couple extra bucks, but if you ever share your tools, you know what tool's yours. Anything that's yellow is mine. Anyway, I ended up getting some Milwaukee scissors because they had Milwaukee there. They didn't have, it looks like DeWalt doesn't make a good pair of scissors or a pair of scissors at all. Perfect. Again, this, I don't know if you see this or not, but there's mud here on the floor because my shoes have mud from outside and I just swept. Now it's going to be harder to sweep with this mesh down, so guess maybe I shouldn't have my feet in here. Yeah, all over here, man. I'm debating on should I be putting this around the corner, around the edges, and I just don't think it's necessary. I haven't watched videos to find out. I was thinking going around the edges with this. I don't think it would accomplish much, so I'm not going to do it. Doing a little bit more sweeping again. I just don't want a bunch of mud in here. I don't know if you remember, I did this too on the walls. I just got a little bit of sealer. Might have should have sprayed before I swept, but I don't want to step on that now. I'm sure this is up for debate on whether this is necessary. I just saw one video where or actually I don't even know if I saw a video, I just Googled it and it says it's a smart thing to do in the wet areas. So, bathroom is a wet area, bathtub area, even though this is hydro defense. So, again, I'll look back if I ever get a leak, I'll say, well, I did everything I could. I'm not going to worry too much. And they usually, I think, actually, I don't know what they do. I have a feeling they brushed this on, but I didn't want to mess around with a brush. Now let's hope that doesn't take too long to dry. Hopefully it'll dry while I get my mortar together. Alright, I found this around the property. I think we had this from the restaurant days. And this works pretty good. I'll probably be tossing it after I'm done laying tile, but it works really well for the trowel, being that I can kind of go this way and not be in a bucket and get my hands all messed up. We always got a bucket of water laying around. And I already poured, obviously, some mortar in there. I'm just taking this guy and mixing it up. Add a little more water. I don't know if you noticed or not, the water's a bit brown that I'm using. That's because Valentina rinsed the paintbrush that we painted the floor with, waterproofing it, sort of. She threw it in that water. So it doesn't matter to me, it's mortar to do whatever we want it to do. I like this consistency. It's a good consistency, it's pretty thick. Then I just take this guy, stick it down in the water. Sometimes it doesn't get every little thing in there, because we are going to be using this for different mortars and just mixing stuff, maybe even paint. I don't know. Probably for the best to clean it up as best as we can. Some things we're not cleaning up the best we can, but this one I try to. Alright. What did happen, what I thought was going to happen, everything dried pretty much, but this one spot for some reason is not. So I put my heater over there on the ground. You can see it on the other side. Pulled the cord over, trying to dry that out before I get started. Almost dried out over here now, finally. So with some consultation from Valentina, you have to think about where do you want your tiles to start. Big ones against the tub or where. So yeah, Valentina said big tiles against the tub, work my way out. And I thought, okay, do I start in that corner or do I start in this corner? If I started in that corner and I worked my way out and they didn't come exactly even with the tub, which I highly doubt they would, I'm not even going to try, then I wouldn't have a full one against the tub. So then I thought, well, this is going to be under a cabinet, so it's okay if I have pieces over here, you won't see it. Anyway, after thinking and analyzing everything, I'm going to start with a big piece right there in the corner and go this way. That's the only thing I can think of to do. I did one thing on the spur of the moment, didn't record it, didn't think about it, but I don't know, I just got studying about that there and studying about that there thing. And I figure along here is pretty important to just keep sealing and sealing and sealing every layer of whatever I do. And I did the best I could over here too. But what it was is I ran out over here. But I'm less concerned about water leaking over here than over there. And what I did was I had an old tube of liquid nails adhesive. So let me put that in there and just fill in the gap. It'll dry at some point. It'll be more like an adhesive and it'll be a little bit of something to block. I wish I had the tub sealer thing or whatever. I'd probably feel a little bit better about that. And just putting it in there and letting it dry for a while. But I'm not. I had that left over. I had no idea what I was going to use it for at any point. So used it up and I can sit there and dry or whatever after I've put all this in. But it'll be a little bit of a bead of something to prevent leaking there. It's amazing when you think you know what you're doing and then you change your mind 5, 6, 7 times before you actually lay the tile. We were going to put it over here on the corner, starting big tiles, so big tiles against the tub. But then when I lined it up, I said, oh yeah, I have tile on the wall. And I think it's going to look better lined up like this. Unfortunately, I'll have a small piece along this edge of the bathtub, but I think you do the tile right, it's going to be waterproof no matter what, and it's going to, hopefully look okay. There's the wife. Let me check it out. All right, that was not the wife. That was Niana, who someday her and Diego are going to own this house, and she has a pretty good sense of interior design herself. So when Valentina and I can't decide on something, we ask Niana. And then, Valentina is working today, so she was in a spot that she couldn't really answer me. So she called Nia really quick and said, call your dad and talk to it. And Niana and I both agree this is the best way to do it. So that's what we're going to do. And I just got to keep saying about this laser business. I just line that laser right up this here. And it's going to carry right there on the floor. Keeps everything so straight. I love it. Because I put this up against there, but immediately my tile was off. Once I put the laser on, that corner was kind of on, but this was over here too much. So this really lines things up and keeps everything straight. I really, really like it. All right, let's finally put our first piece down. I think I am going to put this big piece down first, is what I've decided. I don't know if it's going to be a good idea or not, but that's what I'm going to do. Then I'll put the small pieces on the side of it. Might as well come all the way over here. I was just going to do that one spot, but thinking about it, once that tile's down, it's going to be pretty hard to lay mortar on that corner with the tile down, so I might as well get it now. I get it sort of thick, but then I take these guys, and I don't push down hard, I just do a light pull, so that's going to be a little bit thicker than those grooves. I think those are, I want to say 1/4 inch, but I'm not sure. And on the floor, it's, I think, a little less important, the thickness versus when it was on the wall. Boy, I love that laser. I just feel so much more confident that it's going to end up straighter in the long run. Use enough, probably on the wall, which was more important. This rubber mallet. Make sure I get some good connection. Alright, I like it. Alright, gonna cut those side pieces now. Coming right along, I'm gonna only do this row and that row against the tub. I'm gonna leave this for later because I can't step on this to get back there. So I'm just going to work my way around, get back up there in the corner, and then work it back here, and this will be my final stuff. Hopefully that works, at least till I come out even here, you know. Also wanted to show you from when I did the walls, I kept my pieces, and all these pieces right here are working out for that spot along the tub. They're just a smidgen, you know, too big, so I'm having to cut them all. But at least I'm not wasting other tile. So there's numbers on here, measurements along here, and I just use those to hit my blue line. Make sure they're the same on both ends. So what's happening on my tub, by the way, is it's away from the wall. It's slowly getting a little bit more distance, and one end is having to be slightly wider than the other one. So what I did is I got that started at the narrow end, and now about halfway. So I'm going to move that over ever so slightly, like that. It's probably 1/8 of an inch, because that's about all I need anyway. Now, when I'm cutting this, I can start making it go slightly that way and come out at the right mark. I brought this side over this way a little bit. Okay guys, I'm keeping it real. Show you what you go through. So I was trying to record this. The one time I picked to show you guys how I do, how I'm cutting and stuff. The blade won't turn, and it's because you tend to end up building up junk in there. So this comes with a little wrench. I'll take this completely off. Take my finger in here and just make sure there's not a bunch of junk. And what happens too is when you're cutting these skinny pieces, just like slivers off, they break off and they get in between here and the machine. So now I know that can spin. Oh, I didn't know I could take that part off. I'll just learn something with you guys. There we go. Kind of clean that off. I don't know if it matters which side. I remember it said the side with arrows, and now I don't see any arrows because I've worn it down. I think it went like this though. And I don't know why it does this, but sometimes it gets kind of warpy. I don't know if it's because I'm pushing it wrong or definitely don't want it to be warpy. You want it to be pretty straight. Some people might say it's good to completely unplug this when you're doing this. I guess I wouldn't disagree if you're completely inept. Oh, there we go. Let's make sure this gonna. All right, we got a good movement there. Nothing grinding. So that's gonna happen once in a while. I also just got through running this through a while ago. You cut the end off just slightly, and it helps sharpen the blade. So I added a little water and sharpened the blade. Yeah, and this is a little tricky when you're trying to cut an angle. A lot of times when I'm trying to cut an angle, I'll just take the guide off. But then you're kind of at the mercy of being able to see the blue line with a bunch of water on it. It ended up not coming out too great, and because this is kind of a centerpiece of the 4, you're going to be able to see it really well. I'm trying to do a better job. Throw on these really skinny pieces all together just in case. I don't think I'll need them. You never know though. Keep everything till the end of the job. Hey guys, I've been installing the battery on the camera. Goes dead pretty fast. I don't know. I'm not real impressed with the DJI battery. It's still better probably than GoPro, but it just takes a bit. Takes out of it. I had to show you something. I saved these skinny little things. Earlier on, I said, don't throw stuff away until you're done with the project. I didn't know this is what... I'm not that advanced to know what I'm going to be facing in the end. These fit right there. I don't know if you can see that, but I need something skinny like that. That just blows my mind. Yeah, that's impressive. My hair is a mess probably. My glasses are covered in concrete or mortar. So is my face. But I finished. So I got that done today. Some places are not perfect. But, you know, it is what it is. Pretty much drywall could be covering this. Same thing, you know, on the edges. But I still feel like I did a pretty good job for a beginner DIY guy. Alright guys, I really would have liked to have gotten more cleaned up after this here job. It's almost 4:30 and I've been told I need to be home by 5 by my wife. Heater, I just unplugged it, but a while ago I unplugged the whole thing. But it was clear up to like 65 or I think it was 63, 65, something like that. So running all day with me in here and it getting up to probably about 30 something today. It warmed up nicely in here. Big mess everywhere. Finish this. Happy about that. Tomorrow I'll probably come out and focus on cleaning. I'll probably do another concrete job. Every day I've been wanting to frame the outside of this door with this stuff over here. Been wanting to do that every day. Thinking I'm going to finish and have time at the end of the day to do it, but it just hasn't happened yet. It would be good for me to clean up my equipment and you know, everything. Just clean up the whole place. So I think that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. And then I think Friday, Saturday, we're supposed to maybe get some very hairy weather. So we're still waiting for the weather people to be able to pinpoint and get more accurate. Even they're acting right, saying now that it's so unpredictable and the patterns keep changing, they don't know what we're going to get. Well, that'll make it good for us. All right, guys. Well, I will hopefully be back out here tomorrow. Whether I am or not, I'll see you guys the next time I'm out here.